Okay. Hello. Where's the camera? It's right there. I'm looking directly into a light. Hello and welcome to episode 2. Nope. Hello and welcome to season 2, episode 7. Almost said Kevin. Let's try that again. And it's 6. 6, 7.
Edit that out.
See?
You have kids.
Yes. Right. I was going to say. This is every time. It takes me like 10 minutes to get started. Okay. Hello and welcome to Coffee with KHEAA episode. No.
Never had this many eyes watching it.
I know. And I don't get nervous. So this is just like who I am as a person. Hello and welcome to Coffee with KHEAA, season 2, episode 6. Thank you in the back. I am your co-host, Cassie Benedict, Director of Outreach Services with KHEAA.
And I'm Brandi Forker, your Assistant Director of Outreach Services with KHEAA.
And today we have a very, very special episode, even more specialer than the other very special episodes we've done. And that's because today we are on location at the American College Application Campaign convening in the resort city of Detroit, Michigan. We also are doing something we've never done before and may be asked to never do again. And that is that we are podcasting, we are recording in front of a live studio audience. Live studio audience, let's hear it. I told them to be quiet. Not really. We also have 2 very lovely guests with us today, and we're going to go ahead and let you all intro yourselves, even though in the script that's not what it says. We're just going to fly by the seat of our pants here. So
I like it.
We first have Lisa King, Senior Director of the American College Application Campaign with ACT. Was that good?
That was great.
Okay.
Only it's Lisa Summer King.
Oh,
It's okay.
sorry.
You can tell
that hurt.
fine.
That cut deep.
I'm still getting used to it too. Lisa Summer King, Senior Director of the American College Application Campaign, born and raised in Michigan. So I'm so glad that for this podcast today and the convening that we were able to bring people to my home state. Been with the American College Application Campaign as a state coordinator back in 2010 for here in Michigan. Stepped into this national work in 2016. Have been leading it now as director since 2020. But it's been wonderful, and I'm so glad to have everybody here. These 2 days together are a great way for our state coordinators to learn and share. So, Cassie, thanks for doing this today.
So much fun. And Ashley Johnson with the Kresge Foundation. And your title is Mrs. Ashley Johnson.
Yes.
Tell us.
I will tell you what my title is. Hey, everybody. I'm Ashley Johnson. I am a program officer at the Kresge Foundation.
That's what
I've been at Kresge for 5 years. Most of my work is working across the nation with amazing organizations like this one to help students get to and through college. Prior to joining Kresge, I founded the Detroit College Access Network way back in, 2012. And so I did that work for about 10 years before I joined the Kresge Foundation.
So Ashley and I go way back with our Michigan work.
She was my very first communications
That's true.
person
That's right.
when I founded DCAN. She helped me put out my first newsletter.
I wonder how many of us can say, like, Lisa and I go way back. Like, I wonder, or she was my first, like.
Edit that out.
I don't want to know how many people can tell us that you were there first. Anything. Yeah.
Zach, how much do I need to pay you to edit all?
0% chance that's getting edited out, by the way. 0%. Anyway. Part of why it's so exciting for us to have Ashley with us today is because KHEAA, Kentucky, we were a recipient of the College Match Day grant that the Kresge Foundation awarded 4 years ago.
3. Yeah.
3.
Well, yeah. The award. Yeah, it was like 4, and now we're in that year 3.
And now we're in year 3.
Recent, yeah.
And so, we got some money from Ashley and we had her on and hoped she'd give us more. So she said, whoa. Okay, so today we're going to talk specifically about College Match Day because as Kentucky was one of the pilot states for the program, and we have had just incredible experiences with it, and we have fully adopted it to continue on in perpetuity. And so we're going to talk a lot about that today and kind of how we got into it, where we are now, where we're going with it, how you can get involved. But first, a little coffee talk. The coffee talk question today is, how do you eat your, and I've been told I'm not to say hot dog. Detroit is known for coney dogs, correct? Kind of, sort of. No, listen, now they're like,
I'm
you're
looking
no.
at you because I'm like, I know.
Now they're
I was
like, you're
born and raised
completely
in the
wrong,
farm community
Cassie.
north.
We've never had a coney dog in this fine city in our whole lives. But like Tony Papa's or whatever, that's coney dogs, right?
Yeah, there's a bunch of coney places around Detroit. So you're right. You're right.
Okay.
Coney dogs. Yeah.
I was going to say, because like in Kentucky, you don't see that.
Yeah.
Like we call them hot dogs.
And
Yeah. So
Except for at Sonic.
what are they called? Oh, they are called
Coney at Sonic.
conies. What? Who?
yeah.
Where am I?
Yeah.
They are called conies at Sonic.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the question. Here's the coffee talk. We're in Detroit. You're gonna go get yourself a coney dog. What are you gonna have put on it? What is the best combo? Give us your Detroit expertise when ordering coney dogs. So we'll start with Ashley. I'm putting her on the spot.
You are putting me on the spot. Okay.
She's
so
like, I'm allergic to
I
meat.
So you got your hot dog, your bun.
Okay.
But once you start adding chili, it depends on what kind of chili you want.
Sure.
You can get kind with like meat in it, kind with no meat in it, and then you add cheese. I think at that point it tips into a coney dog.
Okay.
I personally don't like cheese, so I will get the hot dog, the bun, the chili. I like onions on mine
Okay.
and mustard, and I'm a happy camper.
I love it. This sounds like something we're not going to get before our 7-hour drive home.
Ooh, you could if you just went right downstairs. Two of the
well, we would be going
the ones
down,
that are
it'd be
always
going straight
featured.
downstairs.
Yeah.
Actually,
You may have to make some stops on the way home,
Right
but
across the street.
yeah, right across the street there's American and Lafayette, which is
And a
kind of like this little battle.
gas station close to
Yes.
that.
I think you could probably make it to Toledo before you needed a bathroom.
Good. We stopped in Toledo for 10 minutes. Okay, Lisa, what about you?
I you gotta have that chili sauce.
Yeah.
I like some relish added on and mustard, and I need the cheese. Yes, I'm a cheese girl.
I like that you called it chili sauce.
Or whatever.
Like that's like a
Yeah, but
very
the
like
chili,
Cincinnati
whatever.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah, like
chili sauce.
Skyline chili.
Right.
You can stop and get that, and you can compare between the chili that you have here and Skyline chili.
Yeah.
And
Ooh.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna love driving home with me.
We always do.
Chili extravaganza. So I'll go and then I'll let you go. I like on my, because in Kentucky we just eat hot dogs, but in northern Kentucky there are conies and such. I like an inappropriate amount of mustard and pickles on basically anything that I'm going to eat on a bun, like just an inappropriate amount. But I also like cheese on mine. I do like the chili sauce. So I venture out, and I'll try anything once. So, put some, beans or something on there, even worse, right? Put something really extravagant on there and I'll try anything once. But if I'm just going to go like comfort, I want pickles and mustard and maybe some cheese.
Yeah, I think you're right, Ashley. I think that if it's a bun and the hot dog, it's a hot dog. But like you need that, that chili dog really becomes the coney. Yeah. So, but I just think like, chili and cheese, and that's it for me.
On the way here, we stopped at a Five Guys because when we're traveling, we like to go to places that we absolutely have in our hometowns. And Brandi and I got burgers, but Zach got a hot dog, and he brings it out, and we're both like, "Oh, we have made a huge mistake." You don't know Five Guys?
I love Five Guys,
Okay.
but I didn't know they had hot dogs.
I didn't either.
Yep.
Zach has illuminated a whole new world for us. It looked so delicious, and I was really going to go up and get one after I ate, but there was no gas station close. Okay, now let's talk about college match day. So for those of you in the room, you know what college match day is. Those of you virtually, you know what college match day is. But my mom doesn't, and she's the person who listens to this podcast. So I'm going to debrief what is College Match Day. So College Match Day, actually, you know what? I'm not. I'm going to let Lisa do that.
Sure.
Mhm.
Well, the wonderful thing is it was, I think, after a convening 4 years ago or shortly after that, it was you and I and a former team member. We sat down and we're like, we need to do something for juniors similar to what we've been doing for the senior year application support. And we were like, what if we have this kind of school day based college matching researching event and activity? And that's what kind of spurred this. Let's write it out. Let's figure it out. Let's figure out who wants to test it. Let's try to get some grant money to support it. And so College Match Day is taking your juniors likely in the spring months, getting them to understand what it means to find colleges, the research of good match and fit and what those terms of match and fit mean. So we've established now with this grant, thanks to that support, what those school day activities can look like and how to build it out and teaching the counselors how to host that, whether it's one day or over a course of a few days in a week, to give them those activities and supports to start their college list building. And then they're entering senior year that much more prepared, knowing these were the colleges I was considering. And maybe over summer they added or removed some, but they can come in ready to know where they want to send some applications.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I loved that meeting between me, you, and Melissa, because it's a great age litmus test. Because as we were talking about it, we were like, it needs to look like singled out. And those of you in the room who laughed, congratulations. You might need to get your knees checked out. You might need to have your cholesterol pulled to make sure you're still healthy, because we're old people. If you laugh at that because you know you old like me. But it's funny because when we talk to the kids, to the younger staff on our team, and we're like, maybe it could look like a singled out game. And they're like, what is that? So I loved that meeting. And so Lisa has kind of given us where we started. Now, where we are is that you all awarded these grants to how many states?
9 states.
To 9 states. And it was a 3-year grant cycle.
Yes.
So first year was, there was a kind of a seed grant to the host site.
So there were 9 states,
this.
but within the 9 states, we were able to select or invite 20 high schools across those states. And we made sure we were very intentional of having high schools from suburban, rural, and urban communities so that we could really see how it would play out across the country in different community settings. And so those 9 states, I'm going to get tested if I can remember them all, but we had California, Florida, Louisiana, of course, Kentucky, Michigan, Ohio, Iowa, and who in the room did I just miss? Did I name them all? Tennessee. You're right in front of me.
He's not listening.
Yes. So we spread that out to those 20 schools, and thanks to the state campaign leaders like you and Brandi in those states, we were able to identify the schools to work with to say, hey, we want to try something new, and we need your creativity because we don't necessarily know exactly the formula to work at each school, but here's the concept. And so those schools, those counselors jumped right in and said, yes, we want to try this, and here's what's working or here's what's not. And so for 2 years with their the juniors that are graduating now, so that was last year, so the class of 2026 and class of 2025, they worked with them in creating these activities during the school day to help them learn how to research a college, how to make it fun and active. Like you said, some of them did singled out blind match games just to get them thinking differently of colleges they may have not realized or thought about as a good fit. So I'll pause there. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about some of those fun activities.
Sure.
Really
well, and I just wanted to ask Ashley,
Yeah.
why was Kresge interested in creating these grants and awarding these grants for this specific initiative?
Yeah. So first off, we want to see more kids get to and through college. And we know, honestly, that happens inside high school buildings every single day where kids are. But we also know that counselors have really large caseloads. So we wanted to be thoughtful about something that was low touch, but exciting and fun and engaging, recognizing that counselors are really all hands on deck with seniors, but we wanted something that had to go back earlier. We all know that by the time senior year happens, you have a GPA that you don't have the GPA that you don't have, and that can limit your choices. So we wanted to figure out how can we create stronger college going cultures that start before the 12th grade. So when Lisa came to me with this idea, I was like, yes, I've been thinking about this deeply from this new role at Kresge, because I know when I was at DCAN, Detroit College Access Network, it was like, senior year is just too late to be introducing students to these kind of concepts. We got to figure out a way to do it earlier. And the reach of the college application campaign in general really had me excited about the fact that this could become something that happens nationally earlier. I think juniors are great, but you could also maybe even do it with your 10th graders if you wanted to.
Yeah, that's a huge point. Yeah. So the way it worked in Kentucky is by the time we accepted the grant, I was director of outreach and Keith Ritchie was assistant director of outreach. So we were kind of the grant managers at KHEAA. And so we were the ones that were getting MOUs signed and fighting with our accounting department to actually be able to use this money for what we wanted to use it for. But the great thing about having Brandi now as assistant director is she was the boots on the ground. So when we looked at the state and we said, what schools do we feel like need this? And we picked 3 schools, and these 3 schools are diverse enough that we can show scalability. One of the schools that we selected was in Brandi's travel territory. It was one of her schools. So I just wanted you to talk about, like, from the jumping off point of us calling you in and saying, we're going to do this initiative. We're going to give the school a little bit of money to do it with. And this is kind of this is the basic concept, because that's really all we gave the schools. We want you to do an event for juniors that helps them explore, match, and fit. Now go. And so when you took over at that point, what was your experience like?
So the first and most important thing is that we had somebody at that school that was really on fire for college access with kids. She was a Kentucky college coach, and she was all in about doing this. And so this was a partnership that she and I went back and forth on ideas, and she was like, I want this to be huge. I don't want to let's just dip our toes in and see how this is going to be. She was like, if we're going to do it, we're going all in. It's a full day. They get there. There's excitement. There's, the students are going into the auditorium. There's, beach balls that are being hit around. There's music going. There's light. She wanted it to be a party. And so she ran with it. And I mean, she started the day, the students came in, they kind of did like a pre-survey type thing at the beginning of the day, talking about what they thought they wanted. And as the day's activities went on, then at the end of the day to say, no, I've learned, and these are the colleges that I match with. And there were a lot of different activities, but I think some of the most important were just some of the conversations that were had. So she was very successful in bringing college representatives in to talk about, their schools and what they had to offer. And, she had fishbowl questions and stuff, because the likelihood that a high school junior is going to sit down at a table with an adult that's a college representative and just start asking questions that they really need to ask, that's unlikely. You may have a couple in the class, but it was wonderful. It was all day long. It was fun. It was a great experience. Now let's fast forward.
Year 2.
She was no longer in that role. So there was someone new that was, had a different direction with it. And so the event was different. It was also very successful. It wasn't as much of an exciting party, but there was still that thinking through this, and we did the singled out thing. And so we had college representatives stand behind a screen where the students couldn't see them, and they would start with, all the students are standing out on the gym floor. And if you think that, you would like to be in a rural campus, go sit down, because this college is located in, an urban location. And they narrowed it down that way. And it's you match with University of Louisville or whatever. And so they had the opportunity to play every round. So they may have found things that they matched with lots of schools for different reasons. But I think one huge, and that was just that one particular school. One of the other schools, they did scavenger hunt type games, and it was questions about colleges in Kentucky. And in order to get their next clue, they had to figure out what college is this about? And so it was just learning that stuff that they wouldn't learn on their own. And so, every school went a different direction with it. But I think that proved to us that, man, this can look like so many things. And one thing that it's also done for us, like, not only have we adopted this, and this is part of the programming that, is part of our Kentucky Goes to College, but it's also made us take a step back and say, we want them to think about this so much earlier than junior year. We want to enjoy these fun match day activities, but what can we do leading up to that? And so we've also been in this, like, we don't want to stand in front of a group of students and give a presentation all the time and just talk to them. So we've been working on, incorporating so much more games, especially with like our middle school and our younger high school kids. And so, a lot of this, create your own college is a game that we play. And it makes them self-identify, like, what is going to be important to them in a college, and like, what are the things that you even think about when selecting a college. And so we're playing this, 7th grade, 8th grade, freshman year. They know so much more to be ready for college match day. And so I think it has been so good for us. Like, it was the start of something that is just blossoming and growing, and it's just still really exciting. So
thank you for that, Brandi. And I got the opportunity to go to year 1 at Union County High School in Kentucky, which was what Brandi was talking about. Year 2, I was able to go to the event that was held. I'm not going to be able to remember now. Cumberland County High School, that one of our staff members ran. And that one, my takeaway from that one is that one was low in the like pomp and circumstance. We'll put it that way. She didn't have a balloon arch, and she didn't have, I think
snow cones.
There were no snow cones. Yeah, I think we ran and got pizza for lunch. But it was heavy on content. And Brandi talked about the scavenger hunt game, and the way she built that, she just built that personally. The way she built it incorporated soft skills, because it would say like, okay, this is your clue that you've gotten. Now, in order to get your next clue, you have to go up to an employee of KHEAA, shake their hand, introduce yourself, and ask them a meaningful question. And so she built in soft skills, which I was like, man, that's so great. Yeah. And so, and then she did like a would you rather game with them regarding college. Like, would you rather go somewhere it was really expensive, but it had your major, or would you rather compromise and study something different to save some money? And they would go to one side of the room or the other. And that was really fun to really watch them think through that. And we've played that a lot at other schools. Then the final school that I went to in year 2 was Augusta Independent, very small school. So I want to preface by saying that, because I don't want you guys to hear this part and go like, oh, we're out. Like, we can't do that. And Lisa was there, and somebody else.
Our former CEO, Janet Godwin, was there as well.
There you go.
It was a nice, wonderful way for us to see the work in action. So.
Do you want to talk about that one a little bit, since you were there?
Yeah, no, that one was wonderful. And, again, since it was a smaller student population, it was like the seniors helped put it on for the juniors too. Mm-hmm. So they were part of the activity and excited for the juniors to do this work. And we were in the gymnasium. They had, what I really loved is there were these table conversations. So there were maybe 8 tables with adults like ourselves and a topic, and then we'd sit with them and talk through just like, what are your worries about paying for college, or like, what are you good at? Like, what are your things that you're like practicing and doing? And, oh, you're in karate. Well, let's talk about how that could translate to, what you want to study in college. And so they move from table to table, getting these individual conversations that help just facilitate what you might want to think about for where you're going to ultimately go. And then they had there was like one of those like leadership style, like, what's your personality? So they could sort of figure out too, like, where their comfort zone is, like one of those, I'm forgetting the
interest inventory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they did that. And then they got to, in the afternoon, college reps came, and it was a similar kind of singled out blind match game where they sat backwards wearing just plain clothes, and they each answer some of the same questions, and the students could mark down if that fit their like interests or not. And so at the end, they were all, would be surprised of like, oh, I wasn't even thinking of, Central Michigan University, and suddenly a college was on their list that they had maybe ruled out because it just wasn't maybe where their brother went or a cousin or the sports team that they follow. And it helped them really think through that. And it was just a full day. They brought in food. And just to know that, I think what at the core of all of this, and we've heard about the schools and different excitement, it's about giving that time and space for the counselors to be able to bring this content to them. And so in this case, it was one full day, but I know other schools did something maybe for a couple of different mornings. But being able to do that in a community environment where the students are getting excited together, or there might be a quiet student who doesn't have a question, but they get to hear other people's questions and realize like, oh, that I care about that too, or like that's important to me too. So I think having that group space, time, school day is so critical to why ACAC's been investing in this, of giving them that time to work through it. So you're not at home feeling alone on it without the resources to learn together.
Thank you. And, for me and for us at KHEAA specifically, one of our goals is not just giving them that time and space, but doing it in such a way that resonates with the audience. So when you're working with juniors in high school who are stimulated all the time and they're processing so much quicker than we did at their age, me standing up and talking to them about exploring colleges doesn't do it anymore. What does it? These games, this engagement, hearing their peers talk about it. One of the activities that we did at both Cumberland County and Augusta Independent was, and this is again, the counselor who came up with the would you rather and the scavenger hunt, she came up with this. Once they got their scavenger hunt answers and it related to a college, then that college, they were tasked with marketing that college using the things they had learned in the scavenger hunt. And they had to draw out of a hat what is the platform in which they're marketing it. So some of them had to make a poster. Some of them had to make a Canva presentation. Some of them had to write a play. Some of them had to write a rap song. Some of them had to write a country western song. And so they were pulling out of the hat this, let's think on our feet. Let's synthesize this information that we have just learned and figure out how we communicate it to other people. Like in my mind, I'm just like, think about the skills that is teaching, And some of the kids balked. Like, I don't know if you remember the kid that like did not want to get up in front of everybody. But what did we do? We allowed him. We said, you can phone a friend. Yeah. Like this group was like, we're not getting up there and rapping. We're not doing it. And so I finally said, okay, well, in life, sometimes you get accommodations. So phone a friend. And they called this kid that is like a known rapper and had him come to the gym and rap their rap that they wrote. And so, that I think that's a life lesson. If you can't do it well, find someone who can. Like just the life lessons that were embodied in this event that wasn't the goal, but it was a goal that we achieved, kind of tertiary. And then I just wanted to ask Ashley, is this what you envisioned? Like when Kresge was like, let's do this, are these the types of things that in your head you're like, this is what we're paying for?
Well, this is much better than I could have ever dreamed. So let me start by saying that. But yeah, everything that you just said is so correct, which is like we have to find new ways to engage students. Mm-hmm. We have to embrace technology, even though we don't want to all the time. We have to make sure that it's kinesthetic. We got to let them lead. We got to let them use their voices. So I'm thrilled with what you all have come up with. And I think the other thing that's really amazing about this is the flexibility and how you can allow people to be creative, right? They don't have to have the pomp and circumstance. They can go deep on the content, or they can have the pomp and circumstance. And you just in this session, you've named 10 different ways you could do this. Yeah. Which I think is incredible. So I definitely wanted it to be flexible. I wanted counselors to not look at this and say, oh gosh, I have to do another thing. Right. I wanted them to have some level of excitement about it. Also wanted them to be able to engage the whole school, because oftentimes the whole college going culture falls on one person. And so this is an opportunity to engage the whole school. And then I love the example about getting the seniors involved too. So yeah, this is much better than I could have ever imagined. I'm thrilled at how this has come out, and I'm hopeful that other people want to join and do it. And then I'm also hoping that things like the game, some people are like, I'm just not that creative. Maybe they end up in some type of a shared file that you can actually go in and use, and you don't have to like start from scratch. So I'm
What a
thrilled. I think
great
you've done
segue.
a great job.
Because that is something that we were able to do with the grant work at our level. Was we've been taking templates from states saying, can you share that game you made, and we're going to make it into instructions and templates. So we've been building that as we've been going, and we want to keep adding to as we hear from schools, because that's where this then really expands and reaches others, so that not everybody has to recreate the wheel. We can take the creativity and say, hey, here's what worked really well in a rural school, or here's what worked really well with somebody who wants content heavy. And then counselors can pick, knowing their student body and kind of how they
Their
resonate,
culture,
of like,
yeah.
they're going to love this game, they would hate to rap, or whatever it is. So.
Well, and also, I think there was a lot of great community involvement because that year 2 that I was talking about, they brought in a lot of people that just, worked in the community to sit at a table in one of the activities that was done, and they represented something like maybe life on campus. And so it wasn't a representative from a college. It was just someone from the community who was there to answer questions because, they had been to college, and they felt involved, and they saw the impact, and they saw what was happening. And so just for those community members to be able to see, oh my goodness, they're really putting in a lot of time and effort into having these students make like decisions based off like what they actually want, and not because my grandparents, want me to go here, or, this is what I know because I see it on my drive to wherever. And so I think that was like really important too. You could see the excitement in not only the kids, but the people that came in to help with those events. Or with that particular event. Yeah.
So my follow-up question is for Ashley. Can we have more money?
Put me on the spot, huh? Let's see. Well, we are looking. She is. The team is going to be submitting another concept paper.
Well,
so I
that's
don't
a
know
better
if
answer than I thought. I thought she was going to say, that's funny. No.
No, I think it's great. So I don't know if it's going to be about this or something
we're
else.
looking to try to get more states in. We want to get more high schools in doing this. We did a webinar actually in January just to introduce the concept to high schools that hadn't been in the pilot grant. And I was blown away. There were 1,000 that registered and 500 that came in live. I've done so many webinars in my career, and having 500 live, I was like, oh, okay. Like they're ready. They're hungry for kind of just give us these ideas that we can build into our school day and help us get the students more invigorated, right? They want to try some new ideas. So I'm very, very hopeful that we're going to be able to bring in more schools and states to do this work. And really help it pair well with our high schools that are already doing the senior year application events to help then those junior class, they're getting to watch. Every underclassman is watching the seniors get that activity and support. They're seeing signing and decision day celebrations. And so I think it's another way to bring the culture across all the grades and building it down, that we're talking about college and making it just part of this work. And that if somebody leaves, it doesn't stop, that it's really every staff member knows it's what we do. Every, principal, superintendent is like, yes, these schools are engaged in doing this work, and it's just part of how we prepare our students for life after high school.
Can I just say one more thing? I think this only works with very strong state partnerships like you all. So I think, one, thank you so much for everything that you do. Also, this is the funnest podcast I've ever been on. It's exciting. As a person who listens to podcasts all the time, I'm like, ooh, I get to be on one today. Cool. So I also think having the state level engagement is so critical to this work, and figuring out ways to make it easy, and making it, you have to go with whoever's willing to do it at first, and then making it fun. So that's one. And then two, I think if we're going to do it nationwide, we need other funders. So I don't know if other funders listen to this.
My mom doesn't have much.
Okay.
But
how much is the cost for one high school to do something like this?
I mean, now that the high school, and that was something that we are telling these high schools, you can do this for $0. And I did want to say, we list each of the different campaigns individually. So when a high school signs up for Kentucky Goes to College and they say, yes, I want to be a part of these events, they can say, I only want to be a part of the FAFSA completion challenge. I only want to participate in the decision day. And it was overwhelming overwhelmingly that they all selected College Match Day. I mean, there were maybe a handful because
In large
and then
counties,
they
really.
say, I just need to know how to make this scalable for a school that has 400 juniors. How do we make this work? We want more information on that. And that's something that we're working on, getting more information and watching some of these larger schools that, do this event for the first time and stuff. But like, it is there. I mean, we just put it out there and they selected it. And it's nearly every single school that signs up says, yes, College Match.
And, to answer about the costs. So the first year we gave each school, each site that chose to do this $4,000. And I will say not a single one of them came close to using $4,000. And they were being very strategic because they were like, I don't need all of this. So I'm going to save some for next year when I have less, because then the year 2, they got $1,000. And I feel like I can confidently say the sizes of the schools that we selected, $1,000 was right on, or maybe $2,000 because they had pulled that from the previous year. And so, these are not $10,000 events, y'all. Like, these are not events that your district is going to be like, we got nothing. I'm sorry. So while you can do it on $0, the pomp and circumstance helps, like making your kids feel celebrated, feel like you're willing to invest in them.
Snow cone.
Literally
A snow cone.
Yes.
A balloon arch.
Yes.
It does make a huge difference. So, and the challenge is now that some of these schools, maybe they can find within their school, maybe there's some money somewhere.
Or a sponsor somewhere.
Yes. But like it does make a difference. But I will say some of those schools, thought, how can I use this money on things that we can reuse?
Yes.
Like
and
a
we
College
encouraged
Match
that.
banner, or the frame things that have like I matched, or, for photos and stuff. And so they were really great about, using their money strategically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We definitely encourage, like, what can we spend it on that you can use year after year after? Is it iPads so that they can walk in the room and use that for their what is it? Yeah. For my left brain people in the room, which is not me, I did want to say too, another benefit of this event is incredible trackable data. If you have kids come into your auditorium and tell you their top 3 or 5 matched colleges when they're second semester juniors, and you get that data and you hang on to it, and then 6 months later, they're applying to colleges through your college application campaign, you can track, did the colleges they matched with, is that actually where they applied? Then you can say, then did they file their FAFSA? Did they have their FAFSA sent to those colleges? Then finally, you have a college decision day event. Where did they end up? Was it one of those schools that they matched with junior year and applied to senior year and sent their FAFSA to? Are we celebrating that decision that we made a year ago?
Well, and two, you've got to think, you can look at that data and say, I had 36 juniors that identified XYZ college as their top choice. That's going to really make that admissions counselor want to be at your college application event. Mm-hmm. And so, maybe if you are further away from this college, or maybe they don't, see the need, maybe you are a smaller school, but half your juniors identified that college as a top choice. Mm-hmm. That may be the difference in that college attending your application day events. So,
and then as to even pull back further from that as an institution to say, well, at, Cumberland County High School, 36 students matched with us, but then come application day, 9 of them applied. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, what did you do wrong? What did this college do to lose these 27 hits? Or we had, 36 students apply to this college on college application day. not a one of them went to that college. What happened here? Like, where are we missing the mark in the streamline, in this pipeline? Where's the drain? Like, where's the leak, you know? And so, like, think about the data. These are fun. These are exciting. We got t-shirts, you know, like, these are great events, but like, think about what we're pulling from that could be incredibly climate changing in your state.
Oh yeah, and that's how they got their ticket for their snow cone, is they had to turn in their choices.
We really like snow cones.
I mean,
Lisa,
that's where
I
we're
just
stopping.
wanted quickly, was there anything else? I mean, probably not, but was there anything else another state did that you're like, well, that was way better than Kentucky? No, totally kidding. Maybe. No, but were there other things that you saw in other states that you were like, that's really good? Like, I need to share that.
I mean, there was a lot of that just same general theme of doing some of these blind match activities, scavenger hunts. I mean, some of the money spent with things like maybe there's microphone equipment or things for amplifying at events and assemblies that I thought were really smart of like, yes, now you can use that for many things to come. Thinking of the signs and banners. So really, it was, I mean, you guys are the best.
That's exactly what we wanted to hear.
audience.
That is exact. I mean, I knew that was what she was going to say. Like, and I will just
I
send me
can't
your
wait.
Venmo.
We're gonna take a little cut of that and put it at the beginning of everything. You guys are the
You guys are the best. I'm just going to send it directly to my boss. Somebody thinks so. I don't want to leave y'all out. So I want to take questions from the audience. So if you have a voice for a podcast, you should answer, or we should answer your own question,
And
because
some
I'm
of our
tired.
states are out
and
here that helped host
that
this.
helped.
Anything that you want to shout out from your states, the high schools that did College Match
Comments,
Day.
feedback, experiences, questions, funny jokes. Don't be funnier than me. On our virtual friends, what you got for somebody else talk? Everyone in the world is begging you for someone other than me to talk.
We'll just cut this part out.
Oh no, yeah. It is a live audience. It's Julie. Julie is here with us today. Not Julie.
Hello.
She doesn't exist.
I'm with North Carolina.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm very proud to be North Carolina. But my question really is just, with doing an initiative like this, what were the biggest challenges that you saw in trying to get all this together?
I mean, without the grant, it would have been money. That would have been the first biggest challenge, because, like, little known fact, we had like a pilot year where Lisa and I had talked about it, and she said, who's willing to do it? And me, I'm like, we are. And we did it. So the year before we had the grant, Mackenzie Massey, now Scroggy, who is our South Central Kentucky outreach counselor, talked one of her schools into doing it. And they did it with no money. I'm trying to think, did we front them any money? No, we didn't, because we didn't know about the grant at the time.
It was like we were writing the grant and saying, like, what could this look like?
And we literally said, like, we know nothing. We have no money. We simply have a concept. Are you willing to do this? And so it was very small scale because there wasn't a lot of money. And that would say that was the biggest challenge. The second next, the like B point to that is capacity. I mean, we've said it a million times, like these counselors, and in Kentucky, we have small schools in poor counties, and the school counselor is the mental health counselor, is the disciplinarian, is the one scheduling classes and changing kids out of classes, is the one that's calling CPS, is the youth service counselor, youth service center, so capacity across the board. We don't have counselors who are like, I'm just real bored this year, so could you put something on my plate to fill me up? We are blessed in Kentucky. When Brandi was talking about her school, we're blessed that we have a partnership with AmeriCorps, and we have Kentucky college coaches. So near peer mentors placed in schools. We fund 32 of those across the state. And so in her school, it was the Kentucky college coach. So her capacity was slightly bigger because of her role in what she does. She was not the school counselor. At Augusta, this is also a little known fact because I found this out after the fact. At Augusta Independent, the person who was our site supervisor or our site host was the Gear Up counselor. The whole time I thought she was the school counselor. And then she was like, no, I work for Gear Up. And I was like, oh, so, so her capacity again was slightly larger because she wasn't the school counselor. So I would say money and capacity. Anyone else have?
Well, I'll say this just as value then of this network, because in your states you're building those relationships. Like, what are these organizations that exist, or the ways to find folks that can come in and help support the work of the counselors if they are tapped, or sometimes they're split between two buildings because it's such rural communities. So, I would say for what we saw from the states that we were trying to support the money to, some of the issue was just getting the money out to the schools because they're not used to getting these mini grants. So it was like, we want to give you $1,000, but also the schools making it difficult to take the $1,000. So it's sort of a, what could we maybe buy and send, or what can we do to figure out how to still get the resources there that those schools need to make the events feel exciting and fun. It was a very interesting challenge where I'm like, we're trying to give you money, but nobody can take the money.
And so many school counselors said like you can send it to us, but accounting is going to take it. Like, they're not going to give it to me. Like, I don't have an expense account. And so at one school, I remember we circumvented that by like, we paid for everything at KHEAA, and I had to really have some long conversations to get that approved, but we paid for everything at KHEAA. And then when we got the $1,000, we paid ourselves back, and that was a way we circumvented that. But that financial exchange is definitely a hurdle.
Some of our states, where if maybe they couldn't accept the money, they had a statewide nonprofit partner like an MCAN, like we had here at the Michigan College Access Network, that could more easily take a grant and get it kind of used within the schools. So that's where the power of this network comes in to help make sure our educators, our counselors want to do this good work. They love seeing the new excitement. So how do we make that easier for them and kind of cut through the red tape?
Great question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, if y'all don't have any more questions, anything virtually, Trevor?
If I can see it. No.
Okay. Well, I mean, this is common. We cover it all. So we cover everything you want to know and lots of things you don't want to know. I do want to extend a huge thank you to Lisa and Ashley for being here today. Lisa indulged me, thankfully. Those are my favorite people, because I had messaged her and said, and really we just like having Zach with us, and he's our producer for the podcast. So I was like, how can we get Zach on one of these trips with us? And I was like, the podcast, like if I told my boss, like, well, we're filming a podcast, so Zach has to be there, then I can bring him with us. And so then I was like, Lisa. So I messaged Lisa. I'm like, would you and Ashley want to do a podcast with us after hours? And it was going to be not coffee with KHEAA. And it was going to be cocktails with KHEAA. And I was like, here's our availability. We're getting in at midnight on Tuesday. By about 7:30 Wednesday, we're going to have finished that reception, so that we would not air that podcast. Or we could meet with you at 1:00 when the convening ends. And Lisa said, now let's just do it during the convening.
Let's figure this out. Like this, I thought would be good for all of you too, just to see something different in the creativity of how Kentucky's getting their work and their message out. So thank you for indulging us and figuring that out for us. And Ashley, thank you so much for being here. And thank you for the financial support from Kresge. And, thank all of you too. So we do have a token of gratitude. And I don't know if y'all have heard, we like t-shirts. So there's 3 different sizes here. So I'm just going to pass them on. But they also get coffee with KHEAA t-shirts.
Love it. Yay. Thank you.
What size you want.
And we would not let our very first and probably only live studio audience go home empty-handed. So you will all go home with a coffee with KHEAA insulated solo cup.
Nice.
You get a
Yeah.
cup.
Reusable.
You get a cup. You get a cup.
You really are Oprah, right?
I really am. She's my gal.
I said, I need someone in here to appreciate this. I'm a murder podcast watcher. And I
Ooh.
said, I'm the Brie to her Ashley Flowers. Does anybody get that? Crime junkie.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
thank you. Finally.
Somebody. And so again, really, we want to thank all of you. Please tune into Coffee with KHEAA. Please, God, someone other than my mother, tune into Coffee with KHEAA. We typically post monthly. You can find us on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Subscribe, and we talk a little bit about higher education and financial aid and a lot about ourselves. And so we definitely want to do this again next year. So there is my, I'm inviting myself to dinner. Go ahead and get your cup. So we want to do this again next year, and we will be coming back to you in May. I don't think we have anything exciting planned for May. So this is the pinnacle of this podcast, and it's all downhill from here. But we'll see you next time on the actual episode 7. And until then, KHEAA later.
Aw, so awesome. Y'all are fun. That was awesome.
You guys are the best.